They're always in the way. They complain about every fursuit they see. They ask stupid questions about why would anybody wear a tail. They never shut up. They never listen. They think they know everything about the fandom, but in truth they know next to nothing. They think they are intimidating. But they almost never are. They're loud. They're rude. They judge your clothes, your persona, your entire life. They smell like resentment. The really obsessive ones spend hours reading furry threads only to get angry at themselves for enjoying them. They can't handle a tail or ears without making a scene. They take over your social media feed. There's no reason they should ever be at a convention, but they're always lurking. If you block them, they scream about censorship. They cannot appreciate art properly. They like Batman and Superman, but only because humans are normal. They think a wolf in a fursuit is inherently creepy. They say Yif is everywhere. They think furries running around cons is a threat to civilization. You can't enjoy a furry meetup when they're tweeting. They do stupid things like call the cops on harmless costumers. They like Sonic the Hedgehog but claim they only watched him as a kid to justify mocking anthros. They think black and white cartoons are better than furry crap. They think fursuit makers are weirdos for charging money for commissions. They think love of the fandom is delusion. It isn't. They think love of the fandom is delusion. It isn't. They like horrible takes online. They follow trends instead of understanding creativity. They bathe in bitterness instead of showers. They tweet insults they wouldn't say in person. They cry over every scandal in the fandom. They don't take no for an answer. They wave their disgust at every con panel. They ruin experiences at cons, online forums, and art spaces. Whenever there's drama, it's somehow always the furries' fault. They send death threats and fantasize about killing furries and then call furries mentally ill. Their flag is literally the Nazi flag with a crossed out paw print instead of a swastika. They're obsessed with Russia. No matter where they go, they can always find a way to be miserable. Their attention spans must be measured in microseconds. They get bored easily. When bored, they seek stimulation by trolling. They search for furry videos and then get mad that they are seeing furry videos. They always use a Halo or Fallout power armor avatar and think it's intimidating. They post screenshots out of context. They poke at communities online. You have to watch them constantly. They depend on outrage to feed their egos, then claim moral high ground. They're a bunch of conservative, homophobic, transphobic asshats. They choose what to hate based on what's popular. They like shows they grew up with, but hate anything that sparks creativity. When a furry event goes well, they insist it's cancel culture. Most will grow up to be passive-aggressive online. Most lack perspective. They spend a fortune arguing on forums, then give up and complain about the fandom ruining everything. They expect validation for every complaint. They're a bunch of keyboard warriors. They never read the room. They're terrible at nuance. They stole convention's joy with negativity. Subtlety is lost on them. They don't get jokes about themselves. They treat the slightest persona creativity as a personal insult. They giggle at memes, but only to criticize them. They think glasses make you weird. Sometimes they're impossible to reason with. During arguments, they resort to insults far too readily. They all sound alike online. They take easily to gatekeeping. They beg for attention, then get scared of harmless fandom enthusiasm. They like fandom spaces but have no idea who major artists even are. They're afraid of fun. They complain about mascots and cosplay. They say fursuits are made in sweatshops or just lie about it. They can't keep up unless you explain everything slowly. They open threads and look for drama first. They get to post negativity while hiding behind anonymity, and you're not even supposed to get mad. If you go to a con, they can't come, but they'll tweet about it. They consume creativity and produce cynism. They are without joy. They are obsessed with control. They can't take a joke. They speak openly about hating fun. They take everything personally.